Hi guys, today we've got a little unexpected surprise project to get done. So the other night Mo and I were out here, we're just kind of walking around looking at everything, talking about things that we wanted to get done around the house, around the gardens, and he asked me what was my plan with all of those plants along the back fence in our backyard. What did I want to do with them? What was I doing with the rest of the butterfly garden bed, and was I going to cut any more sod out, etc., etc. And that got us leading into talking about the shed. And I mentioned that I didn't really want to do too much on the lower back of our backyard until we got the shed, and that way I could kind of get a visual, like an actual structure in here, so I knew exactly how to balance everything out. But he's like, okay, realistically, when are we going to get a shed? It's probably not going to happen this year. It may happen next year. But as far as the plants go, you can start getting them in the ground if you want to. So I figured, hey, why not? So we are going to be doing a little bit of planting along the back fence line here, and I'm kind of excited about it. So as you can see, this back section right here with the mulch, this has been kind of like a landing pad for all of our leftover plants that we were wintering over. So I grabbed them all, put them in carts, moved them over to the side, just kind of brushed them away from our working area, because we are going to be working along this back fence line here, and we are going to be planting another mini Junior Giant arborvitae hedge. So we're going to start it right here where our neighbor's privacy fence ends and just continue on. I only have 6, and that's all I really need. I've got them spaced 4 feet apart, and we're just going to run them along the back fence line, 2.5, 3 feet from the fence line. And then right in this corner here, this is the corner where Shuey likes to run, and he has been breaking this Green Mountain boxwood. So as you can see, it's not as full as the rest of them, because every time he runs over to the corner to visit with the neighbor's dog, he ends up breaking branches. So I'm going to pop this one out and replace it with this golden arborvitae. Isn't that gorgeous? And that'll help keep him from running into this boxwood. So if we just pop that over there, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So yeah, we're gonna have a little privacy hedge going on over here. These are the same arborvitaes that we planted along the fence line a few weeks ago. Let me show you them really quick. This is the butterfly garden, and right along the fence line here, all the way to the front gate, we have the Junior Giant arborvitaes. They're all the same size and height, but the ones we're planting today look a little bit bigger because they're surprise survivors from our initial order last year. Last year we ordered 20 Junior Giant arborvitaes, and they didn't make it through the winter. And surprisingly, a few of them actually snapped out of it this spring before we could actually get rid of all of them. So I kept 6 on hand. I've been watering them, and I am so surprised at how they look. From here, you never would think that there was ever an issue with them, but honestly, a couple months ago, they looked totally different. So a lot of them actually look like this from the bottom all the way to the top. They had a little bit of green still left in them, and a lot of the stems still had green. So I just figured, you know what? Let's just water these last little scragglers and see what they do. And look at this. Like, they all just came back. Like, if you go into the center, there's still a little bit of damage, but considering what they look like initially, they look so much better. This one is probably the worst, because you can see it's got a little gap right here. So we'll probably turn it around, but unreal. Look at these. I love these. They're so pretty. Oh. One thing I love about these, aside from the fact that they're more deer resistant than the emerald green arborvitaes, is that they have one main central leader, as opposed to the emerald greens that have multiple competing leaders. So when you get heavy rains or wet, heavy snow, they tend to splay out all over the place. Whereas the Junior Giant arbs, they have one leader, and the rest of their canopy is just a beautiful evergreen conical shape. So these get 15 to 20 feet tall, but only 3 to 5 feet wide, whereas their big brother, the green giant arborvitae, can get anywhere from 30 to 50 feet tall and 15 to 20 feet wide. So these are great for narrow spaces, or if you just want to have a little bit of privacy, but you still want to keep a little bit of planting area. These are great because they do stay a bit more narrow and conical. They're hardy in zones, I want to say 4 through 8 or 4 through 9. They do like full sun, well draining soil, and they can be a little bit of a water hog the first year. So you want to make sure that you keep them well watered during the first year of planting. You don't want them sitting in wet, sopping soil. They like moist soil, but they like well draining soil as well. I spaced them 30 inches from the fence line and about 4 feet apart from each other. I wasn't too super precise with this hedge as I was with our other hedge over here because I want to keep this a little more natural and free flowing. Again, you know, we can maybe pop some other stuff in front or in between. Again, if one happens to perish, we can replace it with another junior giant or maybe something else. This is a very informal type of hedge that we're planting. So again, I'm not too worried about precise spacing and whatnot, but I think it looks pretty good. And here's our shovel, starter fertilizer. We have an extra nursery can for the boxwood when we pop it out. I'm gonna put it in this one and kind of nurse it back to health a little bit. And we're gonna put this gorgeous arb in its place. Let's get the first one in the ground together and then I'll finish up the rest. Okay, first we need to scoot the mulch away. Then we take our knife. We're just gonna cut an X right here so we can peel it back and create our hole, or dig our hole. And we have 2 pieces here. So that is where our hole is going to be. Perfect. And so now I'm just going to tuck these under. And I brought a bigger container for extra soil. So now we can start digging. And hope we don't hit roots. Next, we check the depth. That looks good. I like to plant it about an inch higher than the soil line. Let's check out the roots. Not too bad. Next, we're gonna add a little starter fertilizer. Shuey has a play date over. Mason is here for the day. And then I like to find the front of the tree and face it outwards towards the yard. Make sure it's straight in all directions, because some of these trunks are a little wonky, so it may look It may look centered in one angle, but then on the other, it's completely going askew. I think that looks good. And then we'll just backfill with native soil. Just pack it in around the root ball, little by little, so you can get a solid foundation and it doesn't move or rock. Just get your hands down in there. Don't be afraid to pack it in. And then you want to make sure you don't forget to unfold the landscape fabric like I did. And I like to create a little bit of like a hill from the trunk down, so when we water, the water will run away from the center of the plant. And then we'll just cover it with mulch. Leave a little bit of room unmulched around the trunk. And there it is. Hi, boys. All right, 1 down, 5 more to go. I can't remember the last time digging 7 planting holes fought me so hard, but we got it done. We got everything planted, watered in, and they look so good. I am loving these trees here so much more than I actually thought I would. Look at them. Oh, they look so good. I am so happy with them. So again, just to recap, they're planted about 30 inches from the back of the fence and roughly about 4 feet apart from each other. And they grow 3 to 5 feet wide, so they will eventually touch over time. And these are actually fast growing. Once they get settled in, they can put on upwards of 3 to 5 feet of growth per year. But oh, they look so good. I really like this golden arb right in the corner here. It just, again, it kind of brightens up this dark little spot, and it'll block Shuey from making a nosedive right into the corner here. But you guys, I did bring out the 9-inch auger for this project because I do remember digging a few holes over here with the auger last year, and it wasn't too bad. There's just a lot of, there's not very many rocks in this soil, but there's a lot of roots, but they're very fine and they kind of just get caught in the shovel. So it's a lot easier to get the auger in here and kind of just shred through them. The one place that I did have a decent sized root was the first one that we planted because it's so close to the crepe myrtle. It's about 4 feet from the crepe myrtle. But we did run into a root directly in the center of where I wanted to plant it. And it was only like 1/4 of an inch thick, maybe a tiny bit more. So I didn't feel too bad about cutting it. Had it been a little bit bigger, I would have had to relocate this planting. And whenever I'm digging a hole, if I come across a root that's like 1/4 of an inch thick or less, I have no problem cutting it. It's not going to harm the tree. But anything thicker than that, I would much prefer just to relocate the tree to a different area as opposed to cutting into a root that size. Let's just take one more look at these trees because I am so happy with them. They look so good. And here's our boxwood, all repotted, fertilized, watered in. And we're just gonna let it grow on in this container for a little while. And you guys, that's a wrap on our unexpected surprise planting project. What a fun day to be able to come out here and get 7 trees in the ground that I wasn't planning on planting today. So exciting. That just gives me the bug to just keep on going. And you guys, that is it for our video today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.